Marcus, thank you. Well, this is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, but there are some symptoms and ways to care for loved ones. Gabby Ballou joins us now with the details. Gabby?
Jennifer, according to the Alzheimer's Association, over 95,000 people in Louisiana are living with Alzheimer's disease.
So they need support that's going to keep them mentally strong, that's going to keep them emotionally strong, that actually is going to contribute to them being physically strong.
Alzheimer's disease is a type of dementia that affects the brain, and it comes in 3 stages: early, middle, and late-stage Alzheimer's. Executive Director for the Alzheimer's Association Louisiana chapter says what functions of the body it can affect.
It causes cognitive decline. It can affect different functions of your body, different functions of personality, things like that.
Several of the most common signs someone may have Alzheimer's includes memory loss, difficulty completing familiar tasks, and decreased or poor judgment. Hurst gives one example of how memory loss is the most common sign.
You might drop your keys and you put your keys in a different place on the counter, and you can't recall in the couple days where you put it.
According to the Alzheimer's Association website, people in the early stages of Alzheimer's can still function independently. However, once someone is in the middle stages, they forget their personal history and can be moody or withdrawn. Hurst explains what the final stages of Alzheimer's looks like.
They lose awareness of recent experiences, experience change in physical abilities, including walking, sitting, and eventually, when it gets to that real final stage, swallowing.
Hurst says once someone is diagnosed, it alters not just the patient's lifestyle, but also their family. She explains the best ways to care for their loved one.
The best thing that they can do is to make sure their mental health is taken care of before they can take care of their family member, but also make sure that they set themselves up and their family members up to have the best care possible.
If you or someone you know needs resources or more information on Alzheimer's, visit our website at knoe.com for the link. Jennifer?